Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another kind of world building episode for the Voyager's Guide to Ravean. This time, we're actually going to cover another homebrew goddess called the Dark Deceiver. If I jump down here, the Dark Deceiver is a lawful evil goddess of deals and deal making. She relishes in the opportunity to enter into contracts with mortals and establish a bond with them for her and her benefit. It is nearly impossible to break a deal with the Dark Deceiver unless it is to her own benefit for you to do so. The Dark Deceiver is most commonly depicted as a pale-skinned tiefling woman in dark robes. She has a cocky, knowing smile and long, dark hair. The Dark Deceiver is well known for her aptitude for making deals, and many people have had the pleasure of negotiations with her as she develops these deals with them. The Dark Deceiver got her name because of the nature of the deals that she makes with these mortals, though. The Dark Deceiver's deals are almost always unbalanced in the favor of the goddess, in an often unforeseeable way, rather than equal or in the favor of the mortal that negotiates with her. The Dark Deceiver in this way accumulates wealth and power while remaining a relatively unprovocative goddess within the Pantheon. No matter how untrustworthy she may be, by virtue of her making her deals, the power she accumulates is undisputed under the lawfully recognized order of the Pact Primeval. The followers of the Dark Deceiver are typically the most greedy or the most cunning types of people. Many people that seek greater knowledge or want something most deeply may attempt to enter a pact with the Dark Deceiver to gain what they desire. The tenets of this Dark Deceiver are easy enough to read, but harder to understand fully, as is the nature of her deals. Negotiate with your head. Think with your heart. Feel with your soul. Now, we'll break it down a little bit, but her holy symbol is contract. It is a piece of paper and a quill. That tends to be kind of what her whole holy symbol is. Now, when I designed all of this with my player that was hoping to have a backstory where he was in a deal with her, Flawed wanted to be in a deal with the Dark Deceiver from beforehand, from before the campaigns start. And to coming up with her look, he wanted something closer to the goddess from the Sinbad movie, the animated Sinbad movie, kind of this dark and flowing, smoky ribbons all around. And so we came up with this kind of a design. I ended up being kind of happy with it because it worked out fairly well for kind of what she would do, what she would actually be like. But if we break her down a little bit more here from the side of things, using Flawed as an example, she is a goddess that knows how to accumulate power and is going to be cunning enough to do it within the bounds where if she were ever to be, confronted by other gods or goddesses, she could be like, well, they made a deal with me. How is that different than what you do? You have followers, that kind of a thing. So when in the backstory, Flawed asked for a unnaturally long lifespan, she said, okay, I can do that, but you're going to serve me. And he went, absolutely. And so the contract was written. Now, it's important to recognize it is extremely difficult to break out of a deal with the Dark Deceiver. And so one of the things that was really important to highlight is that when Flawed ended up dying within our campaign, I'm sorry for the spoiler if you aren't there, at Flawed's first death, he had a moment where he could sit down and renegotiate with the Dark Deceiver for additional power or anything like that. And that is an extremely tactful play from her in and of herself. Is she knows right now she holds the power. They already made a deal that she is absolutely going to honor because that's the way that she works. You make a deal, you honor it. But she made a deal where he would worship her forever, right? He would serve her forever. And so under the care of her in her domain, he is able to be a worshiping soul. Now, as he died, however, if she has plans for him to continue to be alive, she wants to sweeten the pot so that he more willingly gives more away without realizing it. So she offered him a extremely powerful weapon. She offered him some additional powers. She offered him the chance to return to life uh, with these additional powers and everything else. And he said, no, 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 I don't want any of that. To which she said, okay, fine. Then that's it. We'll follow the original deal. And so then they did. And that's kind of how we moved from Flawed to Lothric now for his new character. But the Dark Deceiver honors her deals to the letter. Part of the problem with her is that it's kind of like making a genie's wish. You can make a deal, but you kind of have to bargain and figure out how to be a good person that bargains, because you're going up against a being that has this immortal and timeless perspective that knows and has seen and lived through most everything and has made many of these deals before, knows exactly how to fuck with you, and she's going to try to do it. And so part of the thing is, when Flawed made his deal, it was going to be very difficult for him to not inadvertently give away more than he got. And that's the case for most all of these deals. She will almost always benefit. A lifetime of service might mean that you spend time offering her sacrifice and gaining her power and sending people to her as worshippers, or basically being this crossroads devil that draws people into these pacts with her as this whole goal. That was one of the things that she was going to require of him, is that he would be sort of a gateway to people making deals with her. He would be a vessel for her to be able to make these deals with mortals. And he would have to do it on a fairly regular basis, is get people to enter into a contract with her by whatever means necessary. That way, she too can expand her influence through a wider net of people. She is very smart that way. If Flawed had taken that deal, he would have been required, and as the DM mechanically, he would have been required to once or twice a month find somebody and force them into a deal with her, whatever the deal might be. Now, that does give you a little bit more challenge when you do have a party member that's trying to figure out how to do that, but makes for a very interesting kind of dynamic when, how does that work with what the party wants? And so that's part of why I want to highlight that's how she operates on a very base level. If you were going to be running the Dark Deceiver within your campaign, she is an extremely quote-unquote provocative character, because she's going to incite a lot of conflict within the party, from the party to the world around them as they make deals. They're also a chance to basically try to get a wish out of what she wants, but know that it's going to backfire. So she's kind of this genie out of the bottle. She'll make a deal with you, but it'll probably ruin your life. Kind of a goddess. So that's it for the Dark Deceiver. Her followers are pretty much everybody and anybody who wants power. So there really isn't any distinct group. It's just kind of anyone and everyone, because she doesn't want to limit herself. So keep in mind, it doesn't take much to make a difference out there. Don't go making a deal with this goddess though. It's not worth it in any way. But don't just try to be good. It doesn't take much to make a difference out there. So be the difference that you do want to see. And remember, I will see you all in the next video. Bye.